Howdy folks, Grok the Duck Farmer here, and let's talk about modded Minecraft. Today, we're going to talk about this little cute thing I have in my hand, the digital miner. One of the best things that the Mekanism mod has come out with, and let's see how we can use it. I'm not going to go through how to make one of these. If you really want a video on that, just leave a comment and I'll get to it, but most of the people that have been talking about this have been asking how to use the digital miner. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. If you right click it, it has several configuration options. It has a place to accept power, and I'm just going to drop a resonant energy cell in there. That will charge it up, as will the Mekanism's energy cubes. This one happens to be the ultimate. Those will all charge it up, so that works out really nicely. You can set it up to auto eject or not. In this case I have it on. That means anything attached to this back piece, in this case if I were to attach, say, a chest, items mined by the digital miner will be ejected into that chest. That's what the auto eject means. The Silk Touch, self-explanatory. You can turn on or off the miner's ability to silk touch whatever it's mining. It really increases the power drain, so unless you absolutely necessarily need the silk touch effect, or you have way more energy than you could ever possibly use, then go ahead and leave it on. Otherwise, if I want something specific, say diamond ore or emerald ore, or this amethyst ore, or anything, Certus Quartz, anything that you want to be able to use a fortune pick on afterwards, use the Silk Touch. Otherwise, leave it off. And then the auto pull, I never use, but it is configurable. What you can do is you can set it up so that if you place it here, a source block for items, you can tell it to replace what it is mining. So here's the little place block location. Say I had more ender amethyst ore than I knew what to do with, and that's what I wanted to replace, whatever I mined out, so I don't leave holes. I could sit there and specify this is the block to use, and then tell it to pull it from whatever container was here, and as the miner is chopping up and removing things out of the earth, it will go ahead and replace it with whatever you have specified here. So those are the options. If you've started mining and you want to reset it back to the state, you just hit the reset button. Over here there are speed upgrades and energy upgrades. Speed is really worth having because that will increase the speed at which this thing mines. Energy increases the amount of buffer it will hold. If you've got a steady energy supply, you don't need the energy upgrades. It's up to you. Config is where you can come into here and you can specify how wide of a mining resource radius you want it to do. The highest it will go is 33. If you put it anything higher than that, it just sets it to 32, not 33. You can also specify the minimum Y height and the maximum Y height that it will mine at. I tend to do 0 to 200. Rarely I'm going to come across anything that's higher than 200 that I'm actually wanting to mine. So those are the options that we'll do here. For right now, let's we'll ignore the OR dictionary filter for right now. Let's go to the mining world, where you should be spending most of your mining time. The Aroma 1997's Dimension World mod is an excellent mod because rather than having people go around through the overworld and just making massive holes and destroying things, eating up the resources there, you can go ahead and do that in the mining world, which is designed for, hello, mining. So you sneak to enter in, and if we take a quick look over here, I decided to have fun with the digital miner. Yes, you can make big holes if you want. This is bedrock to the top of the mining world. This is an interesting configuration in that, remember how I said the eject pops out the back? you don't have to have a chest. You can use conduits to pipe that into something else. You know, maybe I wanted to have a big array of barrels or, you know, deep storage units or something to pipe the stuff into. Could do that. In this case, I was piping all the items into my tesseract so that it would send the items elsewhere. Up here is a dimensional anchor to keep this chunk alive. The digital miner does not have a chunk loader, so if I were to leave this dimension and go elsewhere, this would stop working. And quite often it gets into a bad state and you have to come in here, stop it, reset it, and start it up again. So that's one configuration as far as grabbing the stuff out. Let's see, did I put an upgrade in here? I didn't. Quite often I will put at least one, maybe two item conduit speed upgrades so that as the digital miner is pulling stuff out and it starts filling up this holder of ores that it's mined, this item conduit will only grab 4 items at a time. But each upgrade that you toss in there will grab an additional 4. So this will now grab a total of 12 items simultaneously. So it's a much faster grab. And since I have the full speed, it's nice to have that. Otherwise it can back up a little bit. Let's take a look at, let's stop this, reset, and take a look at the configuration. I'm ejecting stuff. I'm not replacing, I don't care. But the silk touch is off. And what I did is I set up a filter to define what I wanted to grab. And let's take a look at that. You can specify by mod if you wanted to grab just the Mekanism ores or just the Biome of Plenty ores or whatever mod that produced it. You can grab it that way. I never use this. Likewise, you can specify if it's using a specific material. I never use that. I use these two, but mostly the ore dictionary. I can come into here and if I want, say, gravel, I can just say, I want gravel. And if you hit enter, it will set it, and you should get a little icon of what it is that you're grabbing. That tells you that this is correct. It is case sensitive. So if I type this incorrectly, or if I type it in the wrong case, it will not work. It won't grab anything. It is case sensitive. And that, by hitting enter, lets me know that that's the case, in which case I can go ahead and save this, and it works. By not saving that, it didn't do anything. So that's one way of specifying what I want. I could use wildcards, in this case the asterisk, and now it's going to grab everything it knows about. And that's what I used here to grab this entire chunk. I just told it to use my configuration. There's my asterisk. I said, go ahead and grab that. Notice that it does not grab bedrock, obviously. It does not grab fluids, so the lava down there, the water, it will not grab those. And there are a few blocks that it will not grab. The essence ore won't get grabbed. The ender amethyst ore will not get grabbed. And one other example further down, this here, the sticky ore, which if you break it, it will give you a slime ball. Those 3 ores will not get grabbed by the system by default. And the only way to do that is to grab them with a silk touch. And so if I had a silk touch pick and I went ahead and grabbed that, then I can specify those. Notice that there's lots of gravel lying around. Yes, it will pick up gravel, but the problem is it mines from the bottom up, and as soon as it mines the block out from under, the gravel falls. And so if you want gravel, doing the asterisk is going to have a real limited success. Instead, you want to specify specifically, I want gravel. And the whole essence of the digital miner is you can tell it exactly what you want to grab. Rather than making a massive chunk like this just down to bedrock, you can say, I just want diamonds. I just want something else. So we'll ignore this guy. He's done his work. Let's come over to here. Hello there, Mr. Digital Miner. And let's give you some power, and let's configure you, because there's nothing in this. I want you to grab these sticky ores. I want some slime balls. And so I went and did the item filter with a block, and now it has the sticky ore. Go back there again. Item stack. You place whatever block it is that you want it to grab. In this case, let's also get the ender amethyst. Save, and now those are in place. As wide as it can go, deep, all of it's in place. Those, if I do silk touch off, it's going to just mine those. Oh, let's stop that. Why is that mining everything else? Reset. Because inverse mode is on. Let's turn that off and we'll ignore that for now. Let's go back to here. It is mining and giving me the results as if I had a regular pick. Let's turn silk touch back on, and now I'm getting the actual blocks themselves out of there. It also tells me how many items are to be mined, and that gives me a clue as to how long the process will take. Let's go back to that inverse mode. If I were to come in here, let's delete these, and turn the inverse mode on, what that's saying is whatever I have here, I do not want. I want everything else. In that case, I would come into the Ore Dictionary and say, I don't want stone. Don't need it, don't want it, I just want everything else. And I also don't want gravel. And I also don't want dirt. So, because the inverse is on, I will not grab any stone, any gravel, or any type of dirt. Can't think of anything else I don't want, so let's go ahead and start this. If I go ahead and proceed, this is telling me that there's 23,000 items that are not stone, dirt, and gravel in this 32 by 32 section. And so it will start grabbing everything else. In this case, it picked up coal is the very first thing. Again, it starts from the bottom and works its way up. So we'll go ahead and ignore that for now. One of the things I do in the dimension world, if I'm going to mine something specific, I like using the F9 key to look at the chunks. So if I hit it twice, you can see where the chunk boundaries are. And I tend to plot myself right there at that section of the chunk boundary. So let's go off a little ways so that we haven't touched it at all. Alright, here we go. This digital miner is a 3 by 3 by 2 object. So if I place it right there, that puts it right in the middle. And let's go ahead and configure this. I do not want that. Instead, I could delete it, but I'm just going to replace it with something else. I want glowstone. Let's save that. And I want a much higher radius. Oops, I didn't want filter. I wanted a much higher radius. There's my higher radius. I do want it so inverse is off. That's what I'm looking for. All I want is that. And I want to get it in solid glowstone form rather than crushing it into powder. Let's get some power. I'm going to turn silk touch on. So now, because it's a 32 by 32, it will do a 4 by 4 chunk border or chunk area that it is going to harvest. So let's see what it gets. Oh, there were 20 glowstone blocks in that 4 chunk area. So about, 21. So that's about 5 glowstone pieces per chunk. That's interesting, but I need way more than that. So what I'm going to do is, and I don't have, since I've been, let's go back to game mode 0. Alright, so now if I have myself a pick, which I don't, give grok. Let's see if that will work. Nope. Let's go back into gotta go back into game mode 1 so I can get myself a pick. You can tell that I didn't plan this originally. All of a sudden I said, hey, I could show you this. But I don't want to do this in game mode 1 because if I do, it will just break that, and I want to keep the stuff that's in there. There we go. Pick that up. That's the second one. Alright, so if I'm actually playing this in on a server, I will count 4 block chunks away. So that was the start. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4. Here is where I'm going to go ahead and do the process again. Come in here, start, and there is another 22 or so glowstone blocks that were in this area. It's a 4 wide, so that's 2 by 2 in either direction. And we can stop that. Break it real quick. Break it real quick. Grab it, and then another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and just proceed on and on as we go on. That way we can get whatever we're looking for specifically and just continue. I'm doing that for a specific reason. That took me, with all the fumbling around, maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and I've got myself just over a block, a stack of glowstone. Actually, don't care about that anymore. Let's turn this off while I go back to the... There we go. Toggle off. And let's head back to the overworld, the void world, and let's go to the Nether. The Nether is another excellent place to go mining for things. There are tons and tons of, Nether ores in there. Toggle, or shift actually, and my Nether portal is over here. I'm still in regular mode, so it doesn't instantly teleport me. And here we are in the Nether. I have a digital miner set up. I'm outputting it into a ender chest, which means elsewhere, wherever that's loaded, the chunk is loaded, a similar ender chest, in this case doing the brown, yellow, brown, it will just pipe it into there. So it's another method of moving the stuff over. Let's configure this, same height, width, and let's do glowstone. I'm getting fun lag because it's the Nether. It tends to be more laggy. It's already charged up. Let's go ahead and silk touch again and start. This has about double the concentration of glowstone, according to what I just saw there. Yes, you can get more glowstone here in the Nether, but I find it easier to get the glowstone as a specific resource in the mining world than I do here in the Nether. For one thing, I'm not going to have ghasts attacking me in the mining world like that could happen here. This is on peaceful because I'm demonstrating, and so I don't care. All the stuff got tossed into my ender chest. The other section where the ender chest is not loaded, so it's not going any place. It's not being processed in any way. I do like the look of the mod sauce Nether. It is very, very cool. When I go to the vanilla Nether, I start going, this is kind of boring now. But alright, let's have enough of this lag and head out of here back to the overworld. And we'll talk a little bit real quickly about power. Now you saw me and I tossed in power into the digital miner itself. You can also pipe it to it. So if I were to take my energy cube here, place it there, and then use a cable, I can pipe power in. And I could use multitudes of different cables. I could have the resonant energy cell and using Ender IO here. We could also use the Tesseract to pipe in power. A bunch of different ways to put the power in. We talked about the Ender chest. Here's the twin of the one that was in the Nether. and it has all the items because it's the same chest. If I had something here that would suck out and process and maybe place it into my ME network, that way I could just be processing out in the Nether and everything would just get stored automatically. I wouldn't need to worry about capacity. That could work if I had that inner chest here and was piping in, because I put a dimensional anchor to load this chunk. Likewise, I have way over there a reactor. I have that also loaded as a chunk. If you are playing on a server where you cannot use any anchors or any chunk loaders, then you have to be there. And it makes sense that you'd be in the Nether while you're mining, or you're in the dimensional mining world while mining, so that you can gather the resources there and then bring them back to the overworld, to your base, and process them when you're done. So, this has been Grok the Duck Farmer talking about the fun and lovely digital miner and all the good things that you can do. If you have any questions, just send me a comment. If you'd like to see the process for making one, because it is fairly involved, I can go ahead and do that. Again, leave me a comment. Until that time, I'll keep playing Minecraft, and hopefully you'll keep enjoying watching these videos and playing Minecraft yourself.